Hi fantasy managers, welcome to FPL Team Talk. In this video I've put together a wildcard side for game week 29 with less than a quarter of the season left to go. I know quite a few of you have either pulled the trigger or are looking to do so for game week 29 to take advantage of those doubles and blank game week fixtures left to come. So if you enjoy these sort of videos, give it a like, don't forget to subscribe, and in the meantime let's take a look. A few things to consider when we put this wild card together is that we do want to maximise those double game weeks in 29, but we also have to have an eye on blank game week 32, the FA Cup semi-final. So even though I don't know the lineup at time of recording, I will update this later on in a week. There is some expectations that Brighton will beat Grimsby, that Man City or Brighton will at least progress, so we know that game's going to be off. Now we want players that have got Man City assets. And we're also going to be heavily involved in Brighton because of the double game week. So it's going to be problematic, but we do have transfers in the meantime to be able to get over that. And later on, we've got smaller game week, double game weeks from 32 and 37. But at blank game week 32, this is really formulated around the fact that you're going to not free hit. You're going to carry this team through. If, like me, you are going to free hit in 32, most likely, then you could possibly hold on to a lot of those Man City, Brighton assets, or those teams that aren't going to make it through to the semi-finals of the FA Cup, or at least have games postponed because of the other team's involvement. All that said, let's have a look at the team that we have put together. I kept faith with Raya in goal. I think their double's not the best, but it is a double in game week 29. Beyond that, Newcastle, Wolves, Villa, I'm not too upset about that. I'm happy to play him through it. If you wanted to, though, you have got Ward. His double looks I'd say his double looks better for 29. I think I'll probably trust that Raya defence in Brentford than I would Leicester's right now. But Leicester at home to Bournemouth, yeah, I think I'd be pretty happy to play that. Ditch him for Man City and play Raya. But they can dovetail quite nice. And they do have fixtures in game week 32. So I haven't got to worry about a goalkeeper playing in that week. Defensively, I have to go with Trippier. I don't see any reason to not have him. If you've got him already, won't cost you to 6.1. Goodness knows how much he's gone up over the season. But I'll be surprised there's many players that have gone up more than Trippier. But his XGI has been brilliant. Newcastle just had such a great season. Fixtures look okay. So a half decent double game week. Beyond that, even without the clean sheets, he offers enough attacking threat, as we can see, to hold him in any case. On set pieces, free kicks, he looks really good. It's just been brilliant this season. 6.1, even that, I'll be happy to pay that. And with this side, we'll go through options at the end. There is a little bit of flexibility for price, but as you'll see later on, we'll talk about players that we want to bring in later on. Okay, we need to keep some of the value of these players in mind. Zinchenko, they don't have the double game week, but a decent fixture in 29, 32 as well, Southampton. Zinchenko looks pretty nailed in that defence now. He's proved his fitness, back full term, and he looks like number one choice there in fullback position. He can play midfield as well if he needs to. Does have a little bit of a goal threat. I think I'm just really bringing him in for the clean sheets more than anything, but I do want an Arsenal asset in this defence, and he ticks all the boxes. So Zinchenko gets the nod for me. Alongside him, I think I'm going to go for Ben Mee. There isn't many other really exciting Brentford sort of assets in defence to go for. If you want to go Henry, save some money, I absolutely think that's fine to do. Ben Mee, just for me, just a little bit more nailed on for the double. Gain a fixture in game week 32. And those other games, same with Ray, I'm happy to play him through. If you didn't want to double up, Ward can drop in instead. But Ben Mee, nailed, decent price, happy to go with him. Doesn't offer much attacking threat, although I think he has got some attacking returns this season so far. In terms of Villa, they have a good fixture in game week 32, which is okay. And also the double coming up. So Mings nailed on, not much attacking return. He comes in. Villa, not conceding many goals, not scoring many either, but they're doing pretty well at the moment. 4.3, happy to bench him if I can, if it needs be. But otherwise, yeah, I definitely want him for that game week 32 fixture if I'm not free hitting. And then finally, making up my defence, I've gone Reece James, and you can definitely go for Chilwell instead. They've got 3 out of 4 next home games. Villa looks decent. Liverpool, they could keep a clean sheet against them. His attacking threat is really good, 0.26. If they keep going to that wing-back system, then him and Chilwell, they've got everything to play for. Still Champions League, which is a little bit of a worry. How many minutes am I going to get out of James? Chilwell slightly more expensive, but I can understand that. For me, and historically, James has just been so explosive. Just got happy memories of James playing last season, even earlier on this season. if he gets anywhere near back to his fitness and gets playing at regular football, he can just be brilliant, and he's just a must-own asset. So it feels like a little bit of a risk, especially with a double game week, and we're going to get 2 games out of him. I'm just unsure. We'll see over the international fixtures whether any news comes out. Will he have proved his fitness a bit more? If in any doubt, then possibly just go Chilwell. But they're both minutes risks, really. But for their attacking output, I think I'm prepared to take the risk with him, really. Reece James, for me, God, he's just such an exciting player if he's playing, and he's worth taking the risk. Brighton players, with the double coming up, we just have to bring some of these Brighton players in. The reason why you wouldn't want to go too heavy on them is you've got Tottenham, Chelsea and Man City. Though that Man City game very unlikely to go ahead because of the FA Cup. So they're actually blanking that week. So unless you're prepared to bench all 3 and carry them through, it feels a bit risky. We've just gone for 2. Mitoma, you could go Solly March for the eye test. I just feel like Mitoma's just a better player, if I'm honest. But Solly March, a decent option as well. His attacking returns look really good. His underlying stats look brilliant. 5.5, real bargain. Brighton just playing so well. Everything to play for. Mitoma gets the nod. And then likewise, I think McAllister over March for me every day. On pens, nailed, midfield. Looking at his XGI, that is a little bit of tells half the story. Earlier on in the season, he's playing a much deeper role. And then more recently, I think over the last 5 games, previous videos we've looked at, he's got a much higher attacking return, almost up to the 1 sort of attacking turn per game over the last 5 weeks. He's been brilliant. And like for all the reasons I said, on pens, nailed in that midfield. He looks really good. For me, he's been captaincy material as well. I'm happy to play him. Even in those tougher fixtures, Tottenham and Chelsea, I don't think I'd still be tempted to play some of these Brighton assets. Not sure they get clean sheets, but they would definitely get attacking returns. They just seem capable of scoring against anyone. And at the moment, of one of the form sides, no one's going to enjoy playing Brighton, even at home, you feel. So McAllister and Mitoma get the nod for me. And again, whereas his XG doesn't look great over the course of the season, he is playing a much further role since Lallana's got injured, tucked into that sort of false 9 behind the striker, whether it be Evan Ferguson or whether it's Welbeck or even Undav. He's just getting so far forward. His amount of shots he's getting off is ridiculous as well. Completely blowing away the likes of Mitoma in terms of those key passes and shots on goal. McAllister, just got to be. He's one of the must-haves for me in this side. Alongside him then, I think Rashford, I'm not going to sort of go on about him too much. It's pretty obvious why we're bringing him. He's just been on fire, been brilliant over the course of since the World Cup really is finished and come into the side. Good fixtures, double game week. You could go for Fernandes. That is an option, but I'll explain why I haven't later on because it just blocks another move, which I'm going to have to make really. Game week 30. Saka comes in. He hasn't done anything the last 2 games. His XGI is still pretty decent. Those fixtures, he's still the number 1 asset that I would want to employ for Arsenal players. On pens, nailed in that midfield. Absolutely. Leeds at home, decent fixtures. Even where at Liverpool, I still expect Arsenal to score against anyone, if I'm honest. And then alongside him, I'd have to go Odegaard, 6.9. You could make a case for Martinelli and Trossard, but I think Odegaard's minutes for me are just a little bit more assured. He's not sharing time with Jesus, with Nketiah if he comes back, and Trossard and Martinelli just all seem to be substitutes waiting to happen or rested. Odegaard nailed in right from the start. So for me, 6.9, absolutely, he comes in. Up front then, at the time of recording, I think Watkins is a good option. 5.4, he's been brilliant so far this season. And again, yeah, same as Mings. I just think fixtures look decent. He's got a game of 32. Absolutely, 7.3 is a bit of a bargain. The other one to go for is Ivan Toney. At time of recording, I've said that a lot, is that he is 1 yellow card away from that suspension. He's got the betting thing overhanging him as well. So if he was something to happen, if he's get booked this week in game week 28, then he just moves out. I think Isaac comes in because he's got the double. But otherwise, they have the game in 32, Toney. I think he's a transfer waiting to happen. If he doesn't get a suspension before 32, I think I'll be pretty pleased. But he's got 4 weeks to get through. On average, he's bound to pick up 1 more yellow, you'd think. I think it's worth the risk bringing him in. It does feel like a transfer waiting to happen. I'm not keen on it. If you want to go Isaac, absolutely agree. But Toney's just the main man. If Brentford score, and they invariably seem to find a way of doing that against anyone, he's just going to be involved. And he proved that against Southampton United. Assist, goal, and he gets clean. He gets the bonus points as well. Finally, up front, I think I've got to go for Harry Kane, 11.7. Everton fixture, so just a single game week, but his fixtures look decent. Home to Brighton, home to Bournemouth as well coming up. Away at Everton. He's just consistent and just scores goals. What can you say more about Kane? So that makes up my 15 players. Let's have a look how it would set up for game week 29 and also what the options moving forward. The squad value isn't huge, 95.5, but I am reserving and holding some of that money back a little bit. This could be a wildcard side for 29. Not saying that you could put Watkins, James and Mings on the bench because they've all got double game week fixtures. You can even play Ward over Ryan. I think that's an option. Difficult to feel. I feel like it's difficult to drop any of those Arsenal players when they're at home to Leeds. But if you wanted the extra fixture, yeah, I could absolutely understand James, Watkins, even Mings. I get that. For me, like I said, I would bench Boost. Got not dissimilar side to this, but you haven't got that choice if you played your wildcard chip. Other choices then, having a look at what other players could go. For me, McAllister, I just love McAllister at the moment. What a great player he is. I would have him as my captain. Could go Tony, but those Leeds away, not a bad fixture. Palace at home, looks good fixture. McAllister just gets the nod. In terms of players then that I could also go to, Haaland's gone down in price, 12 million. Now, I am going to want him back for that Southampton fixture in game week 30. That would be my earmark time. I've gone without him on a wildcard in the 26. I think I've just about got away with it. He hasn't done me too much damage. Blanks in 28. 29 plays Liverpool, so that's a difficult fixture. I'm prepared to go without him. That is risky. You could bring him in for Watkins or someone like that. Absolutely fine. If you double game week, could do that. I'm going without him. In 30 though, he's got to come in. So it would be a straight swap from Tony to Haaland. If you want to bench Tony, if he gets that yellow card in game week 28, there's an argument just bring Haaland in if you've got the cash. Otherwise, he is a player I have to be. I'm too scared to go without him. I'm even slightly scared to go without him for the Liverpool fixture, but he's got to come in for that Southampton game without a doubt. So that money's there to hold on to make sure that's an easy one transfer move from Tony to Haaland. If you don't like booking in a transfer after you've just wildcarded, I get that, and I think you just play Haaland instead. Other options then, you could save money elsewhere. You could bring in Chilwell if you're worried about James's minutes. I absolutely get that. I think that's not a bad move if you can afford him and then still move to Haaland later on. Maddison's a tricky one. I've got him in my side, but I've dropped Odegaard for Maddison. Well, no, I haven't. I dropped Matoma this week for Maddison, and then maybe Odegaard will come out and Matoma come back in, or I might go to March to save money. 8.2 is difficult. I don't want to drop Rashford out of this side, and I still want to keep those Arsenal assets for the Leeds game at home. Maddison's got a double though. It's a difficult one. And if you go from Odegaard to Maddison, then all of a sudden you're going to maybe struggle to finance the move to Haaland later on. So you'd have to start looking at where to save money. And then you'd have to sort of forego the fact that you can't really have Chilwell. You could go down to March or something. That would save you a bit of money. But Maddison's fixtures look all right. Leicester, obviously not in the greatest form at the moment, but it's still a threat. And his XGI and underlying stats is good. March would save you money. I would much prefer to keep McAllister. He'd be my number one Brighton asset. And then March would come in instead of Matoma. That would save me a bit of money, but I don't think it would make the move to Maddison all the same. And then finally, maybe Isaac would save you money. You could go from Tony if you're worried because he feels like that transfer waiting to happen to Isaac, and then maybe take Watkins out. That would leave you enough money to go to Haaland later on. But all of these are perfectly viable options, and the side looks pretty good. That's it for this one then, guys. Let me know in the comments below what you think of the wildcard side. Is there any players that you think I'm completely overlooking or should be included in that wildcard team? And are you intending to wildcard in 29? If not, when are you going to do it? We'll be back at you later on this week with watch list, team selection, all that good stuff. So make sure you hit that like. Don't forget to subscribe. And in the meantime, good luck. Speak to you soon.